Good evening. The south has been recovering today from the violent thunderstorms that hit much of the region last night. Dorset and the New Forest were worst affected. In Christchurch, a house caught fire after being struck by lightning. Rachel Hepworth has the details.
Only the hard of hearing managed to sleep through last night's storm. This in Southampton, and earlier caught on video near Wimborne, a lightning strike. This morning, sunny skies in Christchurch belied the devastation caused to this house. A direct hit while the occupants slept. The noise when it happened, terrifying.
I have been in air raids, but this was a bang that was equal to anything I've heard before.
Terrifying to think, when I'm seeing it now, that someone's upstairs, sleeping, and it could have been terrible.
The occupants had done exactly the right thing, so they got themselves out, but they were in the middle of a storm, so we're still in the storm conditions, the lightning, the thunder, and the buildings on fire.
It was a busy night for the fire service, the electrical storm prompting dozens of call-outs. Flooding too. This was the centre of Wimborne, while motorists in Basingstoke and Godalming had to contend with dangerous conditions. On the railways, delays for passengers on South West trains after lightning damage to signalling, while one commuter got more than he bargained for in Newbury.
I am having to go home. I've got any shoes on. I'm just hoping this is not too deep. It's quite something.
A lightning strike on the offices of the Basingstoke Gazette caused a roof collapse and extensive damage. But as with the Christchurch strike, there were thankfully no injuries. The couple who live here are back at the house surveying the damage today. They didn't want to speak on camera, understandably still incredibly shaken by what they thought was a bomb going off in the middle of the night. But they did want to pass on their thanks to the emergency services, without whose help, they say, things could have been an awful lot worse. The overnight weather was in stark contrast to the record-breaking temperatures earlier this week. Certainly a dramatic end to the summer season. Rachel Hepworth, ITV News in Christchurch.
Certainly was, wasn't it? In other news tonight, a man has appeared in court charged with attempting to murder a woman on a busy shopping street. The 35-year-old woman was stabbed in the back on London Road in Portsmouth back in July. 42-year-old Dalur Mohammed denies the charge. He will go on trial in January. Diane James, the MEP for the South East, is the new leader of UKIP, taking over from Nigel Farage. She says her first job will be to target Labour voters. Our political correspondent Phil Hornby spent the day at the UKIP conference in Bournemouth, and a warning, there are some flashing images in his report.
They came here to fly the flag, to celebrate their referendum victory. Easier said than done.
It's definitely going to go.
They're working out what their future should be, amid talk of rows and splits and claims that UKIP is falling apart. Certainly today felt like the end of an era as South East MEP Nigel Farage came to say goodbye. He's resigned 3 times as leader. This time he really means it.
I'm done. That's it. End of the pair.
So who would succeed him? The clear winner, another South East MEP, Diane James. Her job to attract new support, especially disgruntled Labour voters. UKIP had its first successes in our part of the world. Now they want to target the Midlands and the North. And she has to try to create a united party. If that means members who are unhappy walking away, so be it, she says.
Support me, work with me, win with me, make UKIP the winning machine it will become. Thank you, everyone.
Nigel Farage says he'll be on hand to help, but he won't interfere. Well, we'll see. Phil Hornby, ITV News, Bournemouth.
A date for the inquest into the death of 11 men killed in the Shurham air disaster will be announced at a hearing in November. The Air Accident Investigation Branch has not yet published its final report, but the Hawker Hunter pilot, Andrew Hill, is being investigated for possible manslaughter due to gross negligence. A section of Bournemouth Beach has been cordoned off following a landslide. It happened behind Happyland Amusements. No one was injured. Back in April, a huge section of the cliff collapsed further along Bournemouth seafront, damaging the lift and a block of toilets. Around 30 firefighters have tackled a blaze on the 15th floor of a tower block in Brighton. It broke out early this morning in Essex Place on Montague Street. It took 3 hours to get it under control. The cause is now being investigated. Now, the generosity of one man from Poole is set to transform the lives of hundreds of cancer patients in Dorset. Robert White died from the disease last year, but now his rare cars, motorcycles and watches are being put up for auction to provide vital funds for treatment facilities. Richard Slee has been to see his incredible legacy.
These are just some of the 600 lots from the Robert White collection up for sale in London next week.
Because that was on his last visit, wasn't it?
Browsing the auction catalogue are two of Robert's oldest friends, who remember that shortly before Robert died in November last year, he was visited by the American talk show host Jay Leno, a fellow bike fanatic.
They were good friends, and it was lovely to see. And he was very much not who I am. It's, you know, I'm here for you, Robert, and let's enjoy what time we have together, I think.
Last year, Jay Leno paid £3.5 million for a collection of Robert's motorbikes.
He didn't want the collection to get broken up. And people would come and they'd nitpick, I want that one, but I want this one. I'll give you this for that. I don't want that one. And he just got fed up. So I said to him, Robert, what do you need to build the hospital? He told me what he needed to build the wing. I said, I'll give you that much. And I bought the motorcycle from him.
That money partly paid for this CT scanner in Poole, but most of Robert's £10 million legacy will be spent on this new radiotherapy centre in Dorchester.
He more and more came to the conclusion that the best he could do with his wealth that he had created was to leave it for the greater good with a local hospital for treatment and diagnosis of cancer.
This is the equipment that will soon be benefiting hundreds of cancer patients in Dorchester. It's called a linear accelerator. There are currently 4 here in Poole, and each one costs £1.5 million. This is not a legacy that is subsidising the NHS. Robert was adamant that his money would provide something extra.
He wanted to further improve things for patients and really move things along in very innovative ways, allow new treatments, new opportunities, and that's what he was keen to see.
The new treatment centre in Dorchester, funded by this magnificent collection, is expected to open in February 2018. Richard Slee, ITV News, Poole.
How funny tonight. Fans of all things nautical will be heading to the Southampton Boat Show over the next 10 days. Everyone from Olympic gold medalists to weekend sailors will be taking to the water. Sally Simmons has been along to see what's on offer.
With over £200 million of orders so far this year, Sunseeker, based in Poole, are in loud voice. Former Formula One boss Eddie Jordan launched the new 52 and explained how boats kept him sane during his time in the fast lane.
Getting away from all the aggravation that was so involved in Formula One all those years ago, since 1985, a year hasn't passed that I haven't had a Sunseeker.
What is the secret?
Absolutely believing in it, having the enthusiasm to carry on with it, and that's what it takes.
Actress Michelle Keegan formally opened the show alongside the British Olympic sailing team. Princess take the prize for the biggest and most expensive yacht here.
You have to be a big dreamer at £7.5 million for this boat. But with the devaluation in the pound, if you're outside of the UK, it's actually quite a bargain these days.
Over 100,000 visitors are expected over the 10 days. Sally Simmons, ITV News, Southampton.
So will the weekend weather be good for the boat show? With all the details tonight, here's Simon Parker.
From Sleat to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening, and after the very clammy weather we've had recently, you might need your bed socks again tonight because it is a bit nippy. Some rural spots were down into single figures with some decent clear spells, but that will make for some decent bright spells to wake up to tomorrow morning. If you're out first thing though, expect it to be a little on the cool side. From the east, we're going to see the clouds start to thicken up as the day goes on. Should stay dry but not very warm. Highs of around 17, 18 degrees at best, so a good 10 degrees cooler than we've been used to. And then Sunday, a similar sort of day, fair bit of cloud, perhaps an odd spot of rain, but a few bright spells as well.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
That's all from us for tonight, but we are back with another bulletin at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And you can always keep up to date with any breaking news on our website. But from me, from all of us here on the Late Team tonight, thanks very much for your company. See you tomorrow. Until then, good night.